Welcome to A Simple Word, with a brief reflection on the scripture readings of the liturgy. I'm Father Earl Maher in Victoria, Kansas. Next week is Ash Wednesday, the beginning of Lent, the penitential season of Lent. The Gospel reading on Ash Wednesday will challenge us to avoid the pride of self-satisfaction in how we observe the three traditional practices of Lent: prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. These three Lenten observances, their prayer, fasting, and almsgiving, are not three separate devotions. They are three aspects of one devotion, a change of heart, which is the purpose of Lent. They are also interrelated and mutually supporting. As an illustration, think of a farmer's milking stool with three legs: prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. If any one Lenten practice is neglected, either prayer, fasting, or almsgiving, your Lent will be askew. It will be like a two-legged stool, unstable, won't last. Prayer, fasting, and almsgiving are interrelated. They're also mutually supporting each other. Stability for Lent. No one practice stands alone. If you tried to observe your personal Lent with one isolated practice, such as giving up a favorite indulgence, or saying a specific prayer, or giving to a needy charity, but then neglect the other practices of Lent, your Lent will be a one-legged stool, a distorted Lent. It will stumble and fall. Now, when we deny ourselves an indulgent habit, whether soda or candy or desserts, it's often a difficult challenge. And that carries the danger of making us cranky and short-tempered. My sister-in-law says that every year my brother announces he's giving up beer for Lent. And he gives up the beer, and we do the penance of living with a thirsty crank. So if you neglect the very purpose of Lent by doing something difficult just to do something difficult, you negate your very effort, which is to become a better Christian. Now, giving up a personal comfort or an indulgent habit for Lent is certainly a laudable custom, and people should be encouraged to do it. We all need to do difficult things to strengthen our character. But if we decide that that is in itself sufficient for Lent and excuses us from the other Lenten practices, our Lent becomes, we're back to a tottering, one-legged milking stool. For an example, we'll say that, okay, for Lent, I'm going to give up beer. And that's tough, giving up beer for Lent. That's enough. Is it enough? There's my Lent. Well, okay, I'll give up beer, but I'll also say the rosary every day. Now, that ought to be enough for Lent, huh? Giving up beer and saying the rosary every day? But if for Lent I do all three, I give up my beer, I say my rosary, and I give to a needy charity, If I do all three of those in a stable manner, I have a stable, solid Lent. Now, this interdependence of Lenten prayer, fasting, and almsgiving is positive. It's not negative. It's a help. It's not a danger. Prayer, fasting, and almsgiving are mutually supporting and enriching. For example, prayer disposes one to charity and makes one seek the character of self-denial. Self-denial opens my heart to the needs of others and also my need to prayer. Almsgiving, helping other people, conquers selfishness and awakens my need for God, my need to pray. Lent is not a salad bar. Lent is an entree. A personal commitment to Lent has an integrity beyond any individual activity. In for a penny, in for a pound. So whatever you do for Lent, or do without for Lent, be sure it's a well-balanced effort of prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. A solid, stable Lent. St. Augustine wrote, "If you want your prayer to fly up to God, give it 2 wings, fasting and almsgiving." May the Lord bless you with a fruitful Lent.